I struck a good relationship up with Kane when he played at Yorkshire. I think he did probably maybe 4 or 5, separate stints. I was in a position where I'd played pretty consistent, and I'd been sort of in and around and involved in the Lions stuff, and it was just a conversation really that I wanted to, go and do a winter abroad to obviously try and play some cricket, but obviously have a life experience too. Kane kindly said that he'd try and sort out the Bay of Plenty, which was brilliant for me at the time because it allowed me to still play some 2-day and 3-day cricket. It didn't happen on quite a few accounts. It took a little bit of negotiating, I think, to get it over the line. I think there were quite a few board members who were sceptical about bringing in an English overseas and taking a position of a local player in the cup, and sort of convince them that the positives they felt would probably outweigh the negatives.
Despite coming off a strong county season in his previous appearances for the England Lions, Lees wasn't afforded the chance to play for Northern Districts while he was located in the Bay.
I think originally I had signed with a view that if I did well, that there might have been some opportunity for some first-class cricket there. But I think looking back on that, I think it was a time where there was probably quite a bit of volatility around ND, and I know Jimmy Pamment, was under probably a little bit of pressure, and I think it was just more the timing didn't probably quite align with where ND was probably with its cricket. I had every intention of hopefully coming over and trying to play some first class cricket, but how it worked out in timing, to be honest, I wouldn't have changed it. I would have afforded more time to go and travel around New Zealand and sample some of the things that you should do whilst you're over there.
Lees hit the ground running in his Hawke Cup debut, making 223 against Counties Manukau. He brought his double 100 up off only 234 balls. It was an effective way of putting to bed any concerns about his place in the side.
Yeah, absolutely. I think when I came over, I might have played 1 or 2 maybe league games. Tauranga boys give me a couple of knocks going into that game. I didn't really, realise what the issue was, obviously, before I came. And then obviously when I got there, I understand it. When you have players around, and we have it in county cricket, good quality players, their runs is one thing. You hope that they get, obviously, the runs. But I think the bigger picture is, if you get the right people in, the effect they have on the wider group, and, in the area that you're playing in is far greater. And on the run side of things, I think I put that to bed obviously pretty quickly. And then I'm hoping, in the time that I did have there, I hope, I helped some guys along the way with the games. And yeah, I hope I, left a good mark. And, I still speak to, quite a few people from my experience there still now. As a family, I've got two young boys now too. We want to come back as a family and, visit those people. And, we had a great time playing for the Bay.
Lee's second Hawke Cup defence started off less successfully. He was out for 4 to Liam Dunning as Bay of Plenty collapsed to 170 all out. However, after a tight first innings contest, he turned it around with 141 at a rapid clip in the second innings.
I think when you sent over the information, obviously feels like quite a while ago now, and obviously reminiscing on that period. I can remember that first innings. I think I probably came in so super confident from obviously the previous game. I remember I nicked off. I think I hit a nice boundary and nicked off early doors, and the wicket was probably a little bit uncharacteristic for the Bay Oval. It was probably a little bit more bowler friendly than usually. It's obviously very batting friendly. So I remember like you say, we were put under some pressure, and then we obviously bowled really well. I remember Donovan. I remember he was swinging it quite late. He bowled like a really good spell, and we also, we then felt, in the second innings it was time to obviously switch on a little bit. And like I say, I think I got quite a decent pace 140 in that with Sean Davey, who obviously I seen did go on to play some professional cricket too. There was, it was really nice blend for me because it wasn't just obviously good club cricketers. There was some aspiring professional cricketers, and like saying that in that instance, we'd obviously put on a huge stand and retained the trophy again. Yeah, it was nice because it felt almost like I was playing second team. It added some real value to my trip, to the advantage of getting big hundreds and batting for like periods of time rather than just it being a 50 over game or 20-20 slog. It did put me in good stead coming back into the season.
Bay of Plenty's next defence, and Alex Lee's last before returning to the UK, was against Nelson. This time, having made his double 100 against Counties, his 141 against Hawke's Bay, Lee's found the runs dry out. He made only 21. But this time, Bay of Plenty's strength and numbers would come to the fore. Peter Drysdale, future Northern Districts player, made 90. Tom McCreary, who would appear for Canterbury, made 54. Joe Carter made 100. Jono Bolt was in the team. Sean Davey made 100. There was no lack of quality, and they made up for whatever Lee's missed out on that day.
I think that was the element too of playing. It was nice, obviously, playing as like the overseas player, but when you've got a real quality team, it's probably not like some pros who come over here and play for an average club team, and really if you don't get runs or wickets that you lose. So I felt like obviously because the team we had, and like I say, these are all guys who either were contracted or trying to get a contract or looking to play some professional cricket. It was a real good quality team. And, if we're being really honest, at times the quality of that team was probably a little unfair, really, for the opposing team. At times, you probably had 9 out of the 11 had played some sort of professional cricket. It's a pretty strong team to put out.
After the Nelson defence, Alex Lees had time to squeeze in one more appearance for Bay of Plenty before returning home. It was against Counties Manukau, the team that he'd smoked for a double 100 only weeks earlier. This time, the result was a little bit different, out for a golden duck. But despite what you might expect, he wasn't given a hosing.
No, they didn't say anything, to be honest. I think they were just glad that I didn't get any runs, to be truthful. I didn't play many of the 2-day games, but I didn't get any runs, really, in the 2-day cricket. I don't know if that was a mental thing, because I knew how important the challenge was, particularly to the Bay, and what it meant, sort of, to the organisation, really. So I was really conscious of trying to retain the cup. I mean, there's probably an excuse for myself, but yeah, pretty underwhelming in the 2-day games. But yeah, I can just remember all the Bay of Plenty guys not being too bothered, because, like you say, the end goal is just retain the cup at all costs possible. And to obviously gain a challenge that year was not a high priority. So obviously it wasn't ideal, but I didn't feel too bad.
One thing that stood out during Alex Lee's time with Bay of Plenty was his willingness to bat positively and aggressively, and against the nature of the more defensive or dour approach usually taken in Hawke Cup cricket.
No, I didn't really have any preconceived ideas, to be honest. Particularly early on in my county career, I was always quite a counter-attacking, aggressive batter, so to speak. So I think I was just literally just seeing the ball and hitting it.
While Lee speaks fondly of the Hawke Cup and of the hard-fought nature of those contests, he does see that players may be better served in their long-term development by having 3-day games being fought for outright wins rather than only contested for first innings.
I think there's such a big focus and onus, obviously, on that first innings. People are so desperately scared of messing up. I loved the Hawke Cup, and I think I love New Zealand as a country. I think it's such an incredible place, to be, and to live there for the few months is an experience that me and my wife, who came out too, will never forget. But I feel like the Hawke Cup, if the structure could somehow just maybe be tweaked so that you can still have that aggressive style of 3-day cricket, something just to entice both teams, somehow just to play positive cricket until day 3. But I don't know what that looks like, to be honest. I mean, we will definitely come back. I'm not sure if it will be with in a playing capacity, but say we loved our time there, and like I say, I still speak to people regularly. Quite a few people from my experience there. Yeah, it's a great place to live, and probably the only place, to be fair, I've ever toured where I felt like I could live there. So, yeah, we'll definitely will be back, but I'm not sure if I'll be bringing my pads.